Good morning, Ria from Maisie Moo here. I am jumping on today to show you this new design that I've put together. It's a small travel jewellery pouch. You can keep rings, earrings, you can have necklaces, which I haven't got one here. I should have got one, but that's okay. You wrap it around the top tab and then it just sits in here. Now this can go in your handbag, it can go in your gym bag, in your car, anywhere where you may think you want to keep your jewellery safe. Now the best part about this is it is a freebie. It's the first freebie that I have done with the Easy Stitch holes. If you are familiar with Maisie Moo, you'll totally know what that's about. But if not, I am a designer and I create faux leather templates for cricket and silhouette, and your cricket and your silhouette will do all the work for you with my templates. So I'm going to go through this now. First of all, what I will do is just direct you to where you need to go for supplies and whatnot. So obviously when you download any of my designs, you get full instructions. In this case you also got the video, which we're going to put together now. I have a list of faux leather suppliers and they include discount codes as well. I also have a link to Amazon for different hardware that you may require too. So let's get started. First of all, just to familiarise ourselves with this, it's a simple, straightforward design. It's made up of one main template piece, which is, in this case, I've used patterned faux leather. You can see here, so you want to make sure when you're cutting out anything that has a directional pattern, you put it the right way on your mat. Okay, so that will all depend on which way you have your template. So I always like to hold my faux leather down on my mat and fold it over and imagine it in the shape of what I'm making, because otherwise you'll end up with something that's upside down, which is no fun. So you'll see here the holes have been cut out. Now, as I say, the machine does this all for you, but what you'll find is you may need to pluck them out. I just go around like this with my finger and thumb and pull them out, or you can get a needle and then they just push out the other side as well. So you will need to possibly do that. Some people use sellotape and pop it on there and then pull it off and it pulls them off. Okay, but anyway, so you will need to go around and pop those out. So that's straightforward enough to do. You've got this little mini bit here, which is, it's like a backing piece for these tabs, and that's going to be popped on the front here. Now, something you may wish to do with this design is back your faux leather with HTV if you want it to look pretty. I didn't mind the creamy colour, it sort of goes with my faux, but that's up to you. So I would do that before you cut out, and you may need to run it through your machine twice because it's going to be a bit thicker because it's got that HTV on it. Okay, so I've gone and just popped all my little holes out. So you'll see you've got your main template piece, you've got your little backing piece, that square that goes there, and you've got your two tabs. Now when I cut this out, I cut the two holes that is where the snap goes on this side. So this is going to be the opposite to that. So keep that in mind whenever you're cutting anything directional. In this case, if you want your tabs to go this way, you'll have to cut it back the front, but I don't really mind either way. You're also going to be using, I use embroidery floss and a large eyed needle with a blunt end. It doesn't need to be pointy because you've already got the holes, and snaps. Now I'm using size 16 Kam Snaps. You can use size 20, it's up to you. I thought the smaller ones, because it was such a small project, looked a little tidier. And now with this one here, I was having a play and I've attached a, whatever they're called, eyelets, and I'll put a link to those. That is just adhered and attached using the tools that came in the set, so I will not be including a hole for that, but that's up to you if you want to include that and create a keychain. I like the idea, but I also feel like if you've got something really precious in here and it's on a keychain, there's a chance of it getting lost. So it's up to you, I guess, of what you use this for, and if it's for jewelry that's expensive. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to attach our snaps, and you'll see that we've got the snaps on the top and on the bottom for closure, and we've also got them here on the end of these two tabs as well. So I'm going to quickly do that. Now I'm using a table press. It's quite big. Can you even see that? You can probably just see the edge of it. It's really heavy, as this is it here, because that I find works best for just keeping your Kam Snaps in place. Right, so I'll get started. There we go. So I'm just going to go around and attach all of those. Okay, so snaps are all attached. You can see we've got top one there. We've got the one that's going to be, here we go, closing that there. You've got your two little snaps on this side for your tabs. We can attach them if you want to. And now we are ready to sew this together. It's super easy, honestly, it really is. I'm going to use pink because you will see it. And here we go. And it also obviously works with what I'm making here. I just always just cut a generous length. This is 30, 60, 90. It's going to be way too much, but we'll check at the end. Okay, so you thread your needle, create a knot on the end. I'm just using a simple straight stitch technique. Now, if you are someone who sews regularly, you may want to use like a saddle stitch, which is a leather stitch using your two needles. I'm not going to show you that. This is just like you would do one of my felt patterns or one of my other stitches, because I find it's much easier to work with just the one needle. Okay, so what we're going to do is just get started by first of all folding over. Now you can see here there is a gap. That's where you're going to fold between the two holes. There's a gap because that's where the fold's going to be. So I'm just going to fold that up. Make sure you've got your little gap there and you line up the two holes at the bottom. So you want to get your knot. You can see I've got my knot there, and I'm going to come in just down from the top of this fold here. We've folded over obviously because we've got our gap at the bottom there, and we can see that we can see the holes going through. Pulling it through, and you can see you've got your knot here. Now something that you may wish to do, because you don't want it to pull all the way through, is a tiny little touch of super glue, just a tiny touch, so that it doesn't pull through and it holds it in place. I think my knot's big enough, so I'm all good with that. And all I'm going to do is sew down to the bottom of my, there we go, folded template. Now this is the last hole at the base. Now something you may wish to do is sometimes, just because it is the last stitch, wrap that around. There we go, and you can see I've got a little, it's wrapped around there, and it just holds the side in place because you've got that wee hole there. So then all we're going to do is just sew back up again. And seriously, this is all you need to do now, is you're going to be sewing in and out, and that is going to create, I just want to make sure, okay, can you see that? It's just created this lovely, neat and tidy solid stitch. Something that's hard to do obviously if you were just using a sharp needle. Even when you're punching, you've got to be so careful that your holes are all straight, and this way everything is pretty much done for you. Okay, so we've come up. What we need to do now is attach this middle piece here. Now I will have a diagram to show you where placement is, but a good way of doing it is you can count. So you're going to want two holes. See how I've got two holes there, and then the next one is just going to come up through that bottom one there. There you go. So that's how big you want your gap to be. So we're coming to the other side. Once again, you're wanting to get your these little tabs. You can see one's got holes in it for earrings. I'm going to pop that one on the bottom, and then this one here's just a simple one for popping rings through or the end of your necklace. So you just want to make sure that's lined up, and that's easy enough to do because you've obviously got that snap at the other end as a guide. Let's just, okay, so going through all those 3 layers, sandwich that. The next one. Okay, you see we're at the bottom again, and we're just going to do that stitch, so that's just going around the outside, so it's called around the outside, just strengthens things a wee bit. And now all we're going to do is go back exactly the way we came until we get to where we started. Okay, so I'm coming to the end. You can see I've got one more stitch to go here, one more on the back, so we're coming up. Now, I'm not going to go all the way back through. We've completed this side. You can see how lovely and neat and tidy it is. All I'm going to do to tie off and to secure this thread is I'm taking my needle out through the top of the pocket. There we go. Again, I'm going to pass the needle out. I'm going to take it through another stitch, because the idea is I'm going to make a loop. See that wee loop there? I've got my loop. We're going to come out through the middle. That's it. And when you pull that, you'll feel there's a bit of tension, and it's actually creating a knot. There we go. And all we do is give it a trim. Okay, so here we go. We're done. We have created the little jewelry pouch. Super easy to use. You just slip your rings on. Here we go. We'll put our rings on there. You've got holes here for your earrings, and as I say, with a necklace, actually I'm wearing a necklace. Let's have a look. Okay, so if you've got a necklace, this is a necklace here. I'm going to do that up. Right, so if you're wanting to keep a necklace safe, all I would do is slip it over the top one. Okay, so like that. And then if you slide it down the back and then into the little pouch at the bottom, here we go. So the bulk of it's in there, you just fold that over and you press your snap. I'm going to line it up. There we go. Everything is snug as a bug in there. Okie dokie, so if you have any questions, reach out to me. I'm exceedingly approachable. I'm happy to answer them. I also have the Facebook group, which if you do choose to make some of these little jewelry pouches, I would love to see your final creations posted in there. Everyone loves to share what they make. There's over 10,000 members in the group. And also too, if you choose to share it on any of the other sites you're on, please feel free to tag my name. I'm more than happy for you to let people know where you've gotten your designs from. In fact, I actively encourage it because it just gets the Maisie Moo name out there. If you've enjoyed this easy stitch design, I must have nearly 100 more in my shop. Almost, might be a slight exaggeration, but lots of different fun projects. So be sure to have a look. I'll put all the links down below. But happy creating. Enjoy this one, and be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Alright, take care and enjoy. Thanks, bye.